Hello viewers out there, welcome to Business Studies with Smartele. This is a channel that allows you to learn on different business tips, and if you're a business student out there, this is a channel that allows you to learn on different business principles and concepts and basically all the information that you need for you to get that distinction, that exam. And it's simple, all you need to do is subscribe, watch and learn. Okay, now today we're going to be looking at yet another interesting topic, but still under business. But as per tradition, before I actually do that, allow me to urge you to go and look up for any of my videos that you missed, because you definitely need that information for that exam and you definitely need that information for your business. Okay, now like I said, today we'll be looking at another interesting topic, and our topic of discussion today is books of original entry. So we'll be looking at books of original entries, and we'll get to know what they are and much more. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's dive in. Okay, so now what are books of original entry? Now, books of original entry are simply books in which transactions are recorded on a day-to-day basis as they take place. Okay, these are books in which transactions are first recorded before being posted to ledgers. Now, different people out there use different terms to refer to books of original entry, and some of the common terms that people out there in the commercial world will use as they refer to books of original entries are: number one, they are called books of prime entry. Okay, others will refer to them as books of first entry, while others will refer to them as journals, or people may even choose to call them subsidiary books or diaries. Okay, all right. So those are some of the terms that people will use as they refer to books of original entry. Now, why are books of original entry referred to as books of prime entry? Okay, now the word prime means first. Okay, so these books of original entry are sometimes referred to as books of prime entry because transactions are first recorded in books of original entry before being posted to ledgers, hence that name. Okay, and that also explains why they are sometimes referred to as books of first entry, because again, these are books in which transactions are first recorded before being posted to ledgers. All right, now we say some people will choose to call books of original entry as daybooks. Okay, now why do they call them daybooks? All right, they refer to them as daybooks because as transactions are happening, or as transactions are taking place on a day-to-day basis, they are recorded in those books of original entry. Okay, so on a day-to-day basis, transactions will be undertaken and will be recorded there. Hence the name again, daybooks. Okay, from the day-to-day transactions that business will conduct, or the daily transactions that business will conduct. All right, so we are saying books of original entries are sometimes referred to as daybooks because these are books in which transactions will be recorded on a daily basis or on a day-to-day basis as they take place. All right, now if you are following, you discover that I also mentioned to say that these books of original entry sometimes will be referred to as journals. Okay, now journal is not an English word; it is a word which is derived from French. Okay, and the word jour in French means day. Okay, so when we say jour means day, I think that also explains why they are called day books, or why they are called journals, because we are saying if the word jour means day, okay, then that also explains why they are sometimes referred to as day books in English, because these are books in which transactions are again recorded on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so books of original entry are sometimes referred to as journals because these are books in which transactions are again recorded on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so there you have it, and if you are finding this information to be very helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification icon, then please like my video so that I know that whatever it is that I'm doing for you people, you appreciate it. Okay, we move on now to another term, which is subsidiary books. Why are books of original entry sometimes referred to as subsidiary books? They are sometimes referred to as subsidiary books because these are books which supply information to other books of accounts such as ledgers. Okay, so because they supply information to other books of accounts, they are therefore sometimes referred to as subsidiary books. Okay, now again, like I mentioned earlier on, we said these books of original entry are sometimes referred to as diaries. Okay, now a diary comes from daily. Okay, on a day-to-day basis. Again, that also takes us back to the first explanation that I gave, where I was saying they are sometimes referred to as day books because transactions are recorded in them on a day-to-day basis. Okay, and this is why some people choose to call them diaries. Okay, because you record transactions on a daily basis as they occur or as they take place. Okay, so there you have it. Those are some of the terms that people out there may use to refer to books of original entry. Don't be confused whenever you hear people talk about these books using different entry. Okay, they are simply talking about books of original entries. Okay, so number one, we are saying besides being known as books of original entry, these books will be referred to as daybooks. Sometimes they will be referred to as books of first entry or books of prime entry. Others will refer to them as subsidiary books, journals, or even diaries, but it is still one and the same thing. Okay, so they are simply talking about the same type of books. Okay, now these books are known as books of original entry, will come in different types. Okay, now there are different types of daybooks, okay, or books of original entry. Now we are going to look at each one of these books individually so that we get to understand what they are and what they are all about. Okay, so the first book of original entry that we are going to look at is the sales daybook. Okay, now this is a book of original entry in which the value or the details of our creditors will be recorded. Okay, so this is the book where we record the value of the goods that we have sold out to people on credit, and also the details of our debtors. Okay, so all that information will be recorded in the sales daybook. Okay, so whatever you sell on credit will be recorded in the sales daybook, the value of those goods that you have sold, and also the details of the person you have sold to. Okay, now we move on to look at the next book of original entry, and the next book of original entry is what is known as the sales returns daybook or the sales returns journal. Okay, now this is a daybook in which you are going to record the details and the value of the goods that you previously sold to customers out there, but were later on returned to the business for different reasons. Okay, so if you sell something to customers out there and then that customer later on decides to bring back those goods, the value of the goods that they have returned will be recorded in the sales returns daybook or in the sales returns journal. Okay, because these are sales that you had made previously on, but the customer has brought back whatever it is that you sold. Okay, so to deduct the amount or to reduce the amount, those goods will be recorded. The value of those goods will be recorded in what is known as the sales returns journal or sales returns daybook. Okay, now we move on to look at the next book of original entry, and the next book of original entry that we're going to look at is what is known as the purchases daybook or the purchases journal. Okay, now this is also another important daybook where you record the value of the goods that you have bought from other people on credit as a business. Okay, so if as a business you go and buy things on credit, those are referred to as purchases, and therefore those items, the value of those items will be recorded in what is known as the purchases daybook or the purchases journal. Okay, now the other thing that the purchases daybook or the purchases journal will record is the details of the people that we have bought from our credit. Okay, so the details of our creditors, our suppliers will be recorded in the purchases daybook. Okay, so there you have it. Again, if you are finding this information to be very helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification icon there, and don't forget to like my video so that I get to know that you are really enjoying what I'm doing for you before. Okay, now having talked about the purchases daybook or the purchases journal, we move on to look at what is known as the purchases returns daybook. Okay, now the purchases returns daybook, again, this is another book of original entry which is important, and this is the book where you record the value of goods that you have returned to your suppliers. Okay, let's say you went and bought goods, okay, and then after buying those items you discover that maybe they have some defects or they are not the right items that you wanted. Okay, you take them back to the supplier. Okay, so the value of goods that you take back to the supplier after buying them on credit, okay, will be recorded in what is known as the purchases returns daybook or the purchases returns journal. Okay, so the purchases returns journal, there you have it, is simply a daybook where you record the value of goods that you return to your suppliers. Okay, all right. Now we move on to the next book of original entry, and the next book of original entry that we're going to look at is the general journal. Okay, now the general journal is sometimes referred to as the journal proper, and this is a book of original entry in which transactions that cannot be recorded in other books of original entry will be recorded. Okay, so this is a book of original entry where you record transactions which cannot be recorded in other books of original entries. For example, the sale of fixed assets. Okay, so that kind of or such kind of transactions will be recorded in the general journal. Okay, now having talked about the general journal or the journal proper, now we move on to the next book of original entry, and the next day book that we're going to be talking about is the cash book. Okay, now the cash book is simply a day book where you record the cash transactions of the business. Okay, so all cash transactions of the business will be recorded in the cash book. Just like the name itself, cash book, it deals or it records only transactions that were conducted by the business on cash basis. Okay, now the cash book will come in different types. Okay, we have what is known as the single column cash book, the double column cash book, and we also have the triple column cash book, which is sometimes known as the 3-column cash book. Okay, now these cash books will have those different names depending on the number of money columns that each cash book will have, where you record it. Okay, so those cash books that have only a single column where you record the money will be called the single column cash book or 1-column cash book. And then those that have 2 money columns will be referred to as the double or the 2-column cash book. Whereas those with 3 money columns will be referred to as the triple or the 3-column cash books. Okay, like I said, the cash book is simply a day book where you record the transactions that were conducted by the business on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so you shouldn't mix transactions in different books of accounts, because each transaction will have its own specific day book where it is supposed to be recorded. Okay, now having talked about the cash book as one of the day books where you record the cash transactions conducted by the business, we move on to the next set of day book, and the next book of original entry that we're going to be looking at is the petty cash book. Okay, now the petty cash book is simply a day book or a book of original entry where you record amounts spent by the business on buying small items of the business, okay, or small supplies of the business. So small amounts of money that you spend on buying small amounts or supplies of the business or for the business will be recorded in what is known as the petty cash book. Okay, so there you have it. Those are some of the day books or books of original entry that businesses out there will use as a way of recording their different transactions on a day-to-day basis as they take place. Okay, now that we have looked at what day books are, the different terms used to refer to these day books, and also the different types of day books that we have, now we can move on to look at the different functions or the importance of these day books. Okay, now number one, we are saying day books are important because they help to summarize information before being posted to readers. Okay, now imagine how crowded information would be in the ledgers if it was not first summarized in, or if it were not first summarized in day books. Okay, so we are saying day books are important because they help to summarize information before being posted to ledgers. Okay, that is number two. We are saying day books are important because they help in classifying transactions of a similar nature to be in one book, so that it becomes easy for business people to refer to them in future if there's any need for any reference to be made. Okay, so classification of transactions of a similar nature is another importance of day books. Okay, now again we are saying day books are important because they also help in showing the kind of transaction that took place. Okay, by looking at the day book in which the transaction is recorded in, you can actually tell to say this type of a transaction or this type of transaction was actually a cash transaction or a credit transaction, okay, or it was actually a return, okay, of purchases or even sales. Okay, so day books are important because they will actually help you to know exactly the type of transaction that took place. Okay, now. Okay, so the other importance of day books is that they actually help you to know the amount of money that was involved in each transaction, and also they give details of the people or the parties that were involved in the transaction. Okay, so those are some of the functions of day books, and again, if you're finding this information to be very helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification icon down there, so that each time I get to upload a new video, you become the first one to know. Okay, now that brings us to the end of our video for today, and I'll see you in my next video, and please stay safe out there. I love you. Bye bye.